Hello everybody! I don't know if you remember when we did our stamping and stenciling project, but this t-shirt was kind of done with my leftovers from my stenciling. So I had cut out the number 805, that's the area code here for Paso Robles. And these cutouts, they were, I don't know, I like them. I like to keep them, and I put them on this white t-shirt then after I used them, the stencil. So I put them on my t-shirt, and then with a spray, like a fabric spray, I just put the blue paint kind of around it, blue and gray. What didn't happen quite well is that the cardboard I had used was not quite flat on the fabric, so the edges were not really defined. And what I did before I started appliqué process, so I stitched beads around the number 8 and around the number 5. So just with a running stitch and some beads like tubings. So I stitched those on, and for the 0 I want to make an appliqué. And as we said before, appliqué is another layer of fabric that sits on top our existing garment, and then it will be attached. So I will work on that number 0 and then show you how to attach it. So the first step is that I use some fabric here. I have just some leftover fabric that I can use. It's also a t-shirt material. Always stay in the same fabric type, because you want it to lay nicely on your fabric and also be not heavier and not significantly lighter. So what you should also remember with the knit fabric, that you have to have the same stretch. So don't put your template in a 90-degree angle to the same stretch that you had for your t-shirt. So again, my t-shirt, because I put the number, I put it sideways. So that means the stretch of the t-shirt goes this way. So that means my number here also has to have the stretch sideways, this way. So I have to put it basically horizontal on my fabric. So don't put it down vertical, because then the stretch would not be the same as for the t-shirt. So we just put it here. I want a little bit of area around it. I want to make it slightly bigger and then stitch it along that edge where we are. So with a chalk, I will just mark my fabric here, inside and out. Okay, I can put that aside, and then I can cut this out. And as I said, I want a little bit of extra room around it. Okay. So then I will just decide what I want to do with it. So since I did the number 8 and there were number 5 with the blue tubings around, so I would want to do the same with this one, have the blue tubings around, and then fill up the inside space here with my transparent sequins. So have them, you know, like spread out kind of like this, and then top them off with my indigo color round beads. So that's what I want to do, and I will be right back. So here I have my sequins and my beads attached. I already did the inside area with the running stitch and the blue tubings, and the outside area I will do attaching to my t-shirt. So then let's get the t-shirt back on the table. And before I do that, I will cut out the shape accordingly. And as I said before, I will have the stitching right on the edge where the white meets the blue here. And therefore I will leave maybe 2 or 3 millimeters of my t-shirt material around my edge here. Not too much, because the numbers are close together, so I don't want to have anything hidden or overlapping too much. Okay, so I double check the area. Okay, and then I will just start with my blue tubes and attach the appliqué here. Just stay. I will fix it with maybe a pin or two, you know, or I just use my needles here so it doesn't slide around or get crooked in a way. I don't want that to happen. One here and one there, so that should be fine. And since my thread is attached to this outermost corner, I can start here on the top. So as you can see, with each stitch I put on a tubing onto my needle, and then I go in about at the same distance as the length of the tubing, and then I come out the same thing, same distance, so it looks like they are all the same length. And so I go all the way around here, and then I'm basically done with this t-shirt. Okay. So this is the application on this t-shirt. I'll remove those pins that held the appliqué in place. And here it is. So that is my second appliqué project. And then I have a third one that I will share with you in a few minutes. Thank you. Hello everybody. So here is the third or appliqué example that I wanted to show you. And this is a t-shirt I am working on for quite a long time. So I hope it will at one point be finished. I drew some circles around here, some of which I just stitched around, like very simple. And two of them I want to do as an appliqué. And I prepared two appliqué pieces. One is a little bigger than the other. So I just used a lot of transparent sequins around. They are topped off with a white or also a transparent bead. In between I have blue beads, you know, one blue, one sequence, one blue, one sequence. And then in the center I have this circle here, and these are a lot of little blue beads. So that is the first one that I will attach to the bigger circle here. I still have to cut around and make it more even looking. Also make sure that the stitch line of the grain line of the t-shirt is the same as the grain line of my material that I want to put on it. And then the second circle that I did is basically just a circle of blue beads and then filled with sequins, topped off with blue beads, and then I put little white beads in between. So that's more like a random approach. And this one will go maybe up here, also like with the grain line in the right direction. And yeah, I think that is a good way to, you know, have different things on that t-shirt. And then I can just double check how far away my line is. I think the line is right around where my sequins are. So I have plenty of extra around this one here. Let's see, it starts here. Okay, so I will cut around that one and then I will attach it. For the attachment, I will also stay in the same range, what I used here. So either the sequins, the white beads, or the blue beads. So I haven't quite decided which one, but maybe I will do a mattress or blanket stitch around and use a few of the beads, you know, with it. So, okay, so now I put some pins in it to attach it to the shirt so it doesn't move around and it stays right on grain and, you know, it doesn't stretch. With knit fabric, we always have to be concerned that it stretches too much. So let's start here. Three. 4, 5, 6. So I am putting 6 blue beads on my string or on my thread. 3 of them will go around the perimeter here and 3 will go towards the center for my blanket stitch or mattress stitch. The mattress or blanket stitch is a very simple stitch that we often use for, finishing up a piece of fabric, the edge of a blanket. That's why it's called blanket stitch, for example. But it can be applied to any edge anywhere you want. And this one here, I use the beads, and I will show you in detail how to do that and a few tips and tricks what not to do. So I do 3 beads over and 3 beads up, but you can also do them in like more than 3 beads. You can also use little tubings, or only beads for the up part, or only beads for the around part. So it's totally up to you. So since I do 3 and 3, I will put 6 beads on my needle. So 1, 2, 3. It always takes a little bit to put them on because they don't like to be on the needle, I guess. Okay, so and I will group them in 3 and 3 since I want 3 on the outside and 3 upwards. So the 3 on the outsides I push all the way over to my last stitch. And then I will go in and decide where I want to put the next stitch. It's right underneath that sequence. So I go in here where that sequence is, and I come out right at the edge of my piece. Like here. And what is very important with a blanket stitch is that now your thread is underneath that needle. So your needle has to be on top of the thread. If you go above it, then you will just create a diagonal line here, but we want to have that edge, that it goes around. So we will do that. And always try to keep the 3 beads over on the outside here. Then we pull. And always careful that those 3 beads stay over there. So I don't want them to mix up. And then here comes my upward beads. And then that's where they meet. Did you see that? So I'll do it again. It's very simple concept. So I have 6 beads. These are the 3 for the outside rim that I push over right away so that they are out of the way, and then I have 3 more. And again I have them grouped, 3 here on the outside edge and 3 on that part. So I decide my next stitch. It's on that in-between bead here. And this is the end of my previous thread, so I will hide those little ends. So I go in where my little bead is, and in order to make all those lines perfectly facing the center, that's what I do now with my needle. I always try to get out in a direction so that the end of the needle is in the center. So I'm not doing it like here or there. So I always try to be really from the center outward. And that gives me the perfect lines that they face all in the same direction. So I come out here. I have my thread underneath my needle here. It's a little hard to see because I have a white thread. So the thread is underneath the needle, and then I just pull. Pull a little more. Okay. So that's basically the mattress stitch or blanket stitch. So now I've finished the edge around the bigger patch here in the blanket or mattress stitch. Oops, here we go. And I went all the way around, attached my piece here, and then I also attached the smaller applique here on that side, and I just did a running stitch and used like 3 white beads on each stitch. And with that one, as I showed you before, I used like 3 for the outside and 3 for the straight, you know, like those little straight lines that face the center of the piece. So I have to do a few more of my circles, like there is 1 here up, and then 2, and a few more in the bottom here, and then I can finish my shirt and hopefully wear it soon. Okay, thank you.